Now, look, the Treasurer also said on Tuesday night that, quote, regional Australia will never be taken for granted. Well, there's a mice plague wiping farmers out in Western New South Wales. And these mongrel things are everywhere. People are at mental breaking point. Believe me, I've been speaking all day to farmers about this. I was brought up in the bush, as you know. I've seen a locust plague and a mice plague, along with drought and flood and bushfires. Psychologists say the mental health impact of statewide infestation is comparable to a natural disaster like a bushfire or a flood. Although people in the bush are spending thousands of dollars on mice traps and baits, many can't get a full night's sleep without waking up to the sound of mice scurrying through their homes, in their beds and in their wardrobes. The trouble is a lot of this bait comes from overseas, and the wharfies, not their fault, are holding up delivery because of COVID. The baits are not made here. One farmer told me today they're spending $1,400 a week and getting nowhere. As farmers are writing to me, it's a national disaster. Farmers are spending a fortune on baits, but to no avail. Everyone in government has an excuse to why something can't happen. As farmers say to me, politicians sit around talking about the state of the nation. Where's the CSIRO? Can't it get out there and kill these vermin? Now, this is desperate. Farmers are saying unless something is done, their livelihood is gone. Well done to John Barilaro. The New South Wales government have today provided $50 million and rebates for rural residents buying bait worth $500. That's for households, and $1,000 for small business. Now, I've got to say, it's hard to be critical of any help, but Barra, this is just touching the sides. Farmers out west have lost their crops, a fortune in prized grain. It is economic havoc, and it's affecting kids. One 11-year-old boy at Warren said he goes into their shed. He's a farmer's son, and there are thousands of them. The hay bales are turned into mush. Many of these people have been through drought and bushfire. This could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. The stress from all this is awful. Mice running across your feet. There's no relief for these kids at school. Warren St Mary's Primary School has 140 kids and staff. Mice have infested classrooms and the schoolyards. They set mouse traps that are constantly going off everywhere. They chew through pencils, books and paperwork. The bush, as I said, has faced drought and flood and now mice. People thought if they had the rain, everything would be over. Now families have to change sheets every other day. The mice are in their beds. Mice everywhere. Where they come from, where they go to, I have no idea. The federal government at the end of last month said, David Littleproud, listen to this, quote, dealing with pests as an internal biosecurity matter is a state government issue. Are you kidding? These mongrel things drop off in the colder months, but if they don't and survive the winter, it'll be on again. Aerial baiting hasn't worked. Mice are sexually mature after 6 weeks. They can have litters of pups 3 weeks apart. 6 rodents are produced each time. There are suggestions the total damage bill for farmers across the state will run into hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, the drought smashed farmers for 3 years. Now these bloody mice, in some of these properties, they're eating holes in the wall and the smell. But if it's a plague and a natural disaster, I come back to my point about a national disaster fund. There should be some way of helping these people. There has been, I should point out, little research done on the economic impact of mice plagues on agriculture. There was a study in 1994 completed on the basis of a 1993 outbreak, and it pointed to $67 million worth of damage for farmers then. That would be about $127 million today. 800 mice per hectare, that's 2.2 acres, is a plague. I can tell you what, this is way beyond that. I'm told there have been 1 billion mice ripping through the Warren Shire. Citizens are exhausted. What do? I just wish, Josh Frydenberg, you lived out what you said on budget night. Quote, regional Australia will never be taken for granted. Josh, they need you now.